Hey guys, Rob Murphy from Holistic Healing Choices here. Now today I want to talk to you guys about trust. So trust is probably a harder subject than you actually realise. I want you to think about how you would define trust. As if you were explaining to someone you've never met before, who has no idea on what trust would mean. A little bit harder than you thought, wasn't it? What sort of things would you say? Because there are so many different ways that we can think about trust or try to communicate trust, and most of us mean the same thing, but it just differs slightly. But our understanding and our own personal boundaries are a little bit different, which is why trust can get broken. This comes down to a lack of communication about what we want, what we deem to be trustworthy. Now, in most of those cases, trust would mean that we have a certain set of rules or boundaries that we follow, like our own personal little code, and that would change between people and the relationships that we have with different people. So with that being said, when trust is broken, it normally comes from a bit of a value misalignment. So our values aren't meeting, or from someone disrespecting our boundaries. But how clear have we made those boundaries to begin with? So then how do we gauge, build and rebuild trust? One of the best things is we can look at what Brené Brown has studied with trust and how to be trustworthy or how to build trustworthiness. So here is her version of the anatomy of trust using the acronym BRAVING. And personally, I find this is one of the best explanations of trust that I've ever seen. And it makes it so much easier for you to be able to digest it and then come up, explain it easily, and use that with people in your life as well. So, once we take a look at braving, the B is boundaries. This is appreciating others' boundaries, not stepping over them, respecting them, and also being clear about your boundaries. And it's something that's completely okay for you to let people know, as they should be doing with you, and what's not okay for you. So in most cases, these boundaries can come from relationships, close relationships, intimate relationships with infidelity. One person didn't know, or that flirting sort of thing where one person thought it was okay, or for whatever reason they did that. Maybe it was just blatant disrespect, but they've done that and they've broken that trust because they've crossed that boundary. But in some cases, our boundaries remain invisible. So we don't make them clear enough. So start making clearer boundaries and things start to change in terms of trust and having trustworthiness with people. R is reliability. Now this is being reliable, but not just once, on many occasions. This is you keeping your word. You say you're going to do something, you'll be there. And then you'll do that over and over and over to demonstrate that you are reliable, that they can trust that you'll be reliable. Now think about that too. You can always rely on someone to be a little bit late, because that's just them. Now that too comes way down later, and I'll talk about that when we get to it. But being reliable, you can't just do it once or twice. It has to be demonstrated again and again and again to be deemed trustworthy. A, accountability. This one, when you make a mistake, you own it. Everybody loves people who are accountable for their own things. You apologise and you make amends. Blaming other people for your own shortcomings is never going to win anybody's trust. But then this too means that you must allow others the opportunity to take accountability. You can't just fly off the handle straight away and get angry at them for not being accountable. You must give them the opportunity to be accountable, because playing that blame game never works well for anybody. V is vault. What is shared is held in confidence, especially if it is something very, very personal to that other person. So this too goes both ways once again. This is you being able to be trusted with that secret. Now, I mean, if it's something very drastic and needs to be shared with someone in a position of power to be able to help that person, that's a whole different thing. But if it's something personal about them that they don't want shared, you have to be that vault. Think about this. How trustworthy is a person who goes around gossiping all the time? Sure, it might be fun to get up into the gossip of it all and whatever else, but how much do you trust that person with your secret scent? So, by going around spreading stuff like that, you're very much seen as untrustworthy. Because when people see how you're handling someone else's secrets, they suspect that you're going to do the same thing with theirs anyway. I is integrity. You act and encourage me as well to act with integrity. This is choosing to do the right thing, not the easy or the comfortable thing. This is you acting out of value, not just saying it. This is do what I do rather than do as I say type of mentality. So being or having that integrity about yourself makes you look more trustworthy. And non-judgment. What we're talking about here with non-judgment is that being open and honest. So when we need help, we're actually able to ask for that help. We don't judge ourselves or others on that ability to help. Because think of it this way. If someone asks you for help and you help them, but yet you don't want that help back, it seems or subconsciously gets shown that you're judging them. You see them as less than for needing help, but you won't accept help when you actually need it. And as well as that, it is letting people live the life that they want. So whether you agree with it or not, it's coming at them with a sense of non-judgment. This takes time to practice because we all have our own set of values, filters, everything like that that's going on in our head that creates our reality that we see out in front of us. And we all grew up differently. So we all have our values and stuff that we want to impose upon people sometimes. Now, if you're a control freak like that, people don't want to trust you. They don't want to tell you anything. They don't want to be around you. So being non-judgmental helps build that trust. And finally, G for generosity. Now, this is what I was talking about before. Up there. Generosity is about being generous in your opinions of people. So it might be that someone missed your birthday. This is about being generous enough to say, hey, I know you're busy, but my birthday was this day. I know you must have something else going on, so I'll leave you be to do that, but get back to me when you can. As opposed to, you missed my birthday, you hate me, I hate you, done. So this comes back to that accountability bit, where you allow people the opportunity to make things right. Now, the complete opposite way to go about this is to not answer calls, not allow people the opportunity to do it. So you can say that they're a bad friend or they're untrustworthy or whatever else is going to support whatever story the hell you've got going on up here. People don't love me, whatever it is. So you must be generous as well. And hopefully they'll be generous in return with you. If you're busy, if you've got stuff going on. But anyway guys, that brings us to the end of trust and the anatomy of trust. So, has this changed your perception of trust at all? What new ideas do you have about trust, if any? Has it simplified anything down for you? Or maybe even complicated it a little bit more? But using this now, I want you to think about previous relationships, stuff where trust has been broken. Which one of the braving acronyms did it violate? Which one wasn't fulfilled? Which one broke in order for that trust to be broken? And then what would you need to do to repair that trust? But anyway guys, that's it for this one. Just something to think about and something that will help you in relationships. I'm Rob Murphy and I will see you in the next video.